Imagine a frightening statistic. 82% of vehicles manufactured today never manage to surpass the barrier of 250,000 kilometers driven. Now, what if I told you my machine surpassed 800,000 kilometers without needing a single rebuild or heavy intervention in the engine? This was not a stroke of luck or mechanical miracle. The real cause of premature death of modern engines is not time and much less high mileage, but industrial secrets automakers pray you never discover. We are about to tear down this wall of silence right now. I will reveal brutal strategies, based on technical data and validated by automotive longevity specialists, capable of pushing your car beyond 1 million kilometers driven. It will operate smoothly, powerfully, and with a reliability manufacturers never planned you to have. Pay close attention to tip number 5, because it is the turning point that prevents the most expensive and catastrophic failure of the entire vehicle. Let's get to the point. Strategy number 17 focuses on the golden rule of 5,000 kilometers for oil. The vast majority of drivers blindly follow the 15,000 kilometer interval suggested in owner manuals. However, these numbers are inflated by marketing departments to sell the idea of low maintenance and based on ideal laboratory conditions, something that does not exist in real traffic. Engines do not die of old age. They collapse because dirty and chemically degraded oil stops protecting metal surfaces long before the manual promises. Independent studies carried out by automotive safety agencies prove extending oil changes too much increases internal component wear by up to 40%. This is even more critical for those facing traffic jams, making short trips where the engine does not reach ideal temperature or living in extreme climate regions. That is why many cars that strictly follow the manual reach 200,000 kilometers noisy, carbonized, and without compression. For your power plant to reach historic marks, the logic is infallible. New oil every 5 or 7,000 kilometers, depending heavily on your driving style. In places of intense heat, oils with viscosity that better withstand thermal stress are essential. In cold regions, a synthetic oil that flows instantly at startup avoids dry friction, responsible for a large part of lifetime engine wear. The manual gives technical specification, but your environment and car age dictate maintenance rhythm. By combining an elite synthetic lubricant with early changes, you create armor against timing chain wear and sludge formation. And remember, whenever oil leaves, the filter must leave together. It is responsible for retaining abrasive particles that cannot circulate again. Maintain this discipline, because the next step protects a system as vital as the engine, and that costs double to repair. Tip 16 is the transmission rescue ritual. Most drivers ignore transmission fluid until the car starts slipping, jerking, or delaying gear engagement. When symptoms appear, damage is usually already irreversible. The biggest myth of the sector is the so-called lifetime fluid. In the real world, lifetime means only until factory warranty end. Heat is the silent executioner here. Automatic transmissions operate under intense pressures and high temperatures. Each increase of 10 degrees above standard operating range cuts fluid life in half. Statistics show more than 60% of gearbox failures are caused by oxidized and overheated oil, not manufacturing defects. If you want durability, replace transmission fluid every 50 or 70,000 kilometers. New fluid keeps internal clutches cooled, seals hydrated, and shifts imperceptible. If you usually carry weight or face stop and go of big cities, this early change is the cheapest insurance against a $15,000 loss in a gearbox rebuild. A crucial technical detail: if your transmission was neglected for a long time, avoid full pressure cleaning machines, flush. Prefer gravity drain and gradual refill method to avoid hydraulic shock in the system. Always monitor possible leaks or burnt smell on the dipstick, if present. This attention places your gearbox at the same protection level as vehicles running decades without problems. Now pay attention to tip 15, because the mistake here makes you lose money every time you stop at a station. Filling the tank to the brim after automatic pump shutoff seems harmless, but it is one of the fastest ways to destroy your car emission system. When you force extra fuel, liquid invades the activated charcoal canister, designed exclusively to filter vapors, not liquid gasoline. Once soaked, the charcoal disintegrates internally, sending debris to vacuum lines and sensitive valves. The result? Unstable idle, difficulty starting after refueling, strong fuel smell, and a check engine light that can cost a small fortune to turn off. The pump shuts off for a physical reason. Keep pressure balanced and protect vapor recovery. Automakers rarely cover this damage, as they consider it operating error. Therefore, when hearing the first click at the pump, stop immediately. Let the system breathe and free yourself from expensive headaches with emissions and sensors. Tip 14 reveals a stress point that dismantles your structure silently: the life test of engine mounts. Your engine should not vibrate as if trying to escape the hood. Worn engine mounts are the hidden culprits for excessive vibrations and even axle shaft failures. Data from repair shop networks show bad mounts contribute to almost 20% of drivetrain stress failures. Replacing a $300 mount on time prevents a $5,000 disaster later. When the engine moves beyond limit, it stretches wiring harnesses, tears air hoses, and cracks exhaust flex pipe. You can test this at home. With foot firmly on brake, engage reverse and lightly accelerate, then do the same in drive. If the engine jerks excessively or the dashboard vibrates intensely, your mounts gave up. Replacing them restores original smoothness and preserves the entire mechanical assembly. To close this block, let's break a morning habit that destroys your engine metal in Tip 13, the idling warm-up myth. For generations, it was believed necessary to leave the car running for 10 minutes before driving. Modern engines are not like those from the 80s. Staying stopped at idle with a cold engine makes excess fuel wash cylinder walls, diluting oil and accelerating wear of rings and pistons. The smart way is simple. Wait about 30 seconds for oil pressure to stabilize and then start driving smoothly. The engine warms up to 40% faster in motion than stopped, which means oil reaches full protection temperature much sooner, reducing friction and saving fuel. Those who adopt this practice report much quieter and more efficient engines long-term. You made it here because you truly value your asset and want to escape planned obsolescence traps. To keep receiving these high-performance mechanical strategies, leave your support and subscribe. The next tips are even more impactful. Tip number 12 addresses the truth about the cooling system. Overheating is not an accident. It is the result of a fluid that became acidic and started corroding aluminum from inside out. Never trust the long life label if you want your car to last forever. Data from automotive engineering scientific publications reveal an invisible danger. Neglecting coolant raises the risk of head gasket failure by almost 40%, long before you see any smoke from the hood. The diagnosis, however, is simple and can be done with a quick drain test. Just collect a small sample of liquid through the radiator drain or disconnecting the lower hose. A healthy fluid must be crystal clear and display a vibrant color. If the sample looks brownish, rusty, muddy, or with suspended particles, your system is asking for help and needs a complete cleaning immediately. Before refilling, do a visual sweep searching for colored residues, usually pink, green, or orange, around the water pump and clamps. A leak detected early costs pennies to fix. Ignoring it can warp the engine head in minutes due to thermal stress. My technical recommendation is renewing this system every 50,000 kilometers, regardless of what long life promises say. Preventing overheating is not just maintenance, it is an insurance policy for your car heart. Strategy number 11 focuses on fuel that protects the engine. Filling with questionable origin gasoline or without detergent additives is one of the shortest paths to aging a power plant. The damage is not immediate, but injectors and intake valves feel every drop of poor fuel. Modern direct injection engines operate under brutal pressures, reaching 2000 psi, and any microscopic dirt deposit can disrupt spray pattern, causing inefficient combustion. Fuel quality studies show engines fed with regular gasoline accumulate up to 19 times more carbon deposits in only 6,000 kilometers driven. This carbon acts like a sponge, stealing power, increasing consumption and shortening life of extremely expensive components. The solution is simple. Use additive fuels from trusted branded stations and, every 5,000 kilometers, add a bottle of a high-performance injector cleaner into the tank. Owners of vehicles from brands like Toyota, BMW, and Hyundai report a much more stable idle and immediate throttle response after just one cleaning cycle. Keeping the fuel system sharp ensures combustion happens perfectly, avoiding residue buildup that destroys the engine inside. Now we enter technique number 10, the smart shifting ritual. The transmission is one of the most expensive systems in the vehicle, but is often abused by unconscious habits. Harsh engagements, shifting to reverse while the car still moves, or selecting park before complete stop send destructive shock waves inside the transmission. These micro-impacts wear synchronizer rings and overload clutch packs. Transmission specialist statistics point bad lever use contributes to more than 40% of premature gearbox failures. The ritual is simple. Stop completely before changing vehicle direction. Wait 1 second before accelerating in reverse and never use the gearbox lock to brake the car. That second of patience saves hydraulic valves and gears from unnecessary stress. Treat your gearbox with the delicacy of crystal if you want it to surpass 400,000 kilometers without scares. Tip number 9 addresses revitalization against carbon. Carbon buildup is the silent performance killer, especially in modern direct injection engines, GDI. In these engines, fuel is sprayed directly into the chamber, meaning intake valves never receive the gasoline bath that kept them clean in older engines. Over time, sticky carbon layers form, suffocating airflow and causing misfires. Research indicates these engines can lose up to 10% of efficiency and horsepower before even 80,000 kilometers due to this clogging. The technical solution is performing a chemical or induction decarbonization cleaning. Think of it as a deep cleaning for your car lungs. If acceleration feels heavy or consumption increased without explanation, carbon is already acting. Clean the valves and feel the engine breathe like it just left the dealership. Strategy number 8 protects the parking system. Most people simply throw the lever into P and release the brake pedal, leaving the entire vehicle weight resting on a small metal part called the parking pawl. This habit silently destroys a critical transmission component. When this lock breaks, the loss can easily exceed $5,000. The correct ritual is, stop the car, firmly pull the handbrake, feel the vehicle weight supported by the wheel brakes, and only then place the lever in P. This transfers the load to where it belongs, the braking system, not the internal transmission gears. Specialists estimate this simple gesture reduces internal transmission wear by up to 70%, being a mandatory step for those seeking extreme longevity. I'm glad you're still here. That proves you are part of the small elite of drivers who truly care about vehicle durability. If this information is adding value, consider subscribing so you don't miss what comes next. In technique number 7, we will talk about protecting the power line. The entire electronic ecosystem of your car depends on only a few cables, which are almost always ignored. Oxidized battery terminals and worn ground cables do not only cause hard starts, they generate electrical noise that confuses sensors and can make the car computer, ECU, behave erratically. Many drivers spend fortunes replacing expensive sensors when in fact the problem was a $50 cable needing cleaning. At every oil change, check for that white crust on the terminals, clean them with a steel brush and apply dielectric grease. Keeping the electrical foundation solid stabilizes voltage, protects the alternator and prevents unexpected failures, ensuring your car never leaves you stranded, especially on colder days. Strategy number 6 is what I call the throttle body reset magic. The throttle body is one of the most vital and at the same time misunderstood engine components. When it loses calibration, which usually happens after a battery replacement, a jump start or years of stop-and-go urban driving, you feel the effect immediately. Lazy acceleration, fluctuating idle, an annoying pedal response delay, or that RPM hanging when you release the pedal. But here is the trick. Most of the time these symptoms are not mechanical failures, but a software confusion. Modern cars are intelligent. They learn your driving style and adjust fuel injection and airflow maps. Over time, this accumulated data can become flawed. A throttle body reset erases these electronic habits and forces the car to relearn the correct rest and acceleration position. Practically all modern brands, from Toyota and Honda to BMW and Ford, benefit from this. There are reports of sedan owners who recovered idle smoothness and overtaking agility only with this procedure, without spending a cent on parts. The process takes less than 2 minutes. Turn the key to the on position without starting the engine, press the accelerator pedal to the floor for 10 seconds, turn the key off and release the pedal. Then start the engine and let it idle for a few minutes while it recalibrates. It is a free software fix that transforms drivability. If your car still feels heavy after that, tip number 5 attacks the problem from a different angle: the habit of coasting like a professional. Most drivers accelerate until the last moment and slam the brakes when reaching a traffic light. This behavior destroys the braking system long before pads wear out. Extreme heat is the real villain. Hard braking makes brake discs exceed 260 degrees Celsius instantly, causing glazing, warping, and micro cracks. Consumption studies show drivers who brake late replace pads 40% sooner and discs twice as fast. Lifting off the accelerator 5 to 10 seconds before a stop is not just being gentle with the car, it is applied engineering. Engine braking naturally reduces speed while keeping component temperature stable. Hybrid cars use this logic to last more than 200,000 kilometers with the same brake set. Start anticipating your stops on hills and curves. You will feel the car more balanced and your wallet will appreciate the savings. Tip number 4 focuses on a tiny component that can suffocate your engine: the fuel filter. It is the guardian preventing rust, sediments, and tank dirt from reaching injectors. Over time, it becomes saturated and the engine stops receiving the necessary fuel under load. That is why cars with clogged filters often stumble uphill or lose breath when overtaking. Worst part is this extra effort overheats the fuel pump, a component costing 10 times more than the filter. Replacing it every 40,000 kilometers protects the entire injection system and avoids expensive pump damage. In third place, we have a vital and often forgotten fluid: brake fluid. It has the thankless mission of stopping 2 tons of metal instantly, yet almost nobody replaces it. The problem is this fluid is hygroscopic. It absorbs air moisture every day. In just 2 years, water content can lower fluid boiling point by half. If fluid boils on a downhill, you lose pedal pressure and consequently vehicle control. Furthermore, Moisture causes internal corrosion in the ABS module, a part costing a small fortune. A complete bleed every 2 or 3 years keeps the pedal firm and the safety system intact. Tip number 2 focuses on spark quality. Spark plugs. Cheap or worn plugs silently drain power and fuel economy. Modern engines fire sparks thousands of times per minute, and any failure interrupts perfect combustion. This not only increases consumption up to 30%, but also overloads coils and the catalytic converter, one of the most expensive exhaust system parts. Do not save money here. Use iridium plugs or those recommended by the manufacturer. Quality plugs ensure quick starts, linear acceleration, and protect the catalyst from premature melting. Finally, we reach tip number 1, the quarter tank rule. The bottom of the fuel tank is a hostile place for the pump. When you constantly drive on reserve, the pump loses the fuel it uses for its own cooling. The pump electric motor works under thermal stress, accelerating wear by 30%. Additionally, sediments settled at the bottom have higher chance of being sucked in, clogging the system. Keeping the tank always above 1/4 stabilizes pump temperature and ensures it lasts as long as the car itself. It is a no-cost habit preventing an unexpected tow truck. These are the rituals separating short-lived cars from those surpassing historic mileage marks. If you learned something that will save your engine and budget today, leave a like and subscribe. Comment below your Warrior current mileage and which tip you will apply first. And before leaving, do not miss our next video about fatal engine oil mistakes that destroy any reliability project. Knowledge is the best tool you can have in the garage. See you next time.